My daughters begged me to stop the limousine. I saw her wheelchair in the snow. The golden K. I used to measure the value of a day by the numbers on a spreadsheet. If the graph went up, it was a good day. If it went flat, I was miserable. I was Arthur Sterling, a man who had everything, the penthouse, the fleet of cars, the tailored suits, but possessed absolutely nothing that mattered. This Christmas Eve was supposed to be the pinnacle of my year. I was closing the Henderson deal, a merger that would secure my bonus and my ego for the next decade. I was sitting in the back of my extended SUV, the leather seats heated to a perfect 72 degrees, shielded from the biting New York chill. My 3 daughters, Lily 9, Maya 7, and little Chloe 5, were in the row behind me. They were dressed like porcelain dolls for a holiday party I didn't want to attend. I was physically present, but mentally I was miles away, until the screaming started, until 3 little girls taught a grown man what it actually means to be rich, the deal and the disconnect. "Listen to me, John," I hissed into my headset, ignoring the festive music playing softly on the car stereo. "I don't care if it's Christmas Eve. If they don't sign by midnight, the offer drops 10%. Squeeze them." I tapped end call and rubbed my temples. The silence in the car was heavy. My wife had passed away 4 years ago, and since then, I had filled the void with work. The girls were raised by nannies and tablets. "Daddy," Chloe's small voice piped up from the back. "Can we look at the lights?" "We are looking at lights, sweetie," I muttered, checking my emails. "No, outside." I sighed. "Daddy is working, please be quiet." I was a monster. I see that now. I was so wrapped in my self-importance that I couldn't feel the cold radiating from the window or the warmth of the children begging for my attention. We were stopped at a red light on a busy intersection, the snow coming down in thick, wet sheets. The red light. The light turned green, but the traffic didn't move. Horns started blaring, the angry soundtrack of a city that just wanted to get home. "Driver," I said, annoyed. "What's the holdup? Go around." "I can't, sir," the driver replied, squinting through the windshield. "Someone is blocking the crosswalk. Looks like junk in the road." "Well, honk at them," I snapped. That's when the screaming started. It wasn't a scared scream, it was a demand. "Stop, Daddy, stop." Lily, my eldest, unbuckled her seatbelt. Open the door," Maya yelled. I turned around, furious. "Sit down, what is wrong with you?" "Look," Chloe pointed a gloved finger at the window. "She's stuck, she's freezing." I looked past the condensation on the glass. Through the swirl of gray slush and exhaust fumes, I finally saw what my daughters saw. The girl in the slush. It wasn't junk, it was a human being. A young woman, maybe 25, was sitting in an old, rusted manual wheelchair. The front casters were buried deep in a pile of gray, frozen slush created by a snowplow. She was trying to push the wheels, her hands red and raw, but the tires were spinning uselessly in the ice. She was wearing a coat that was far too thin for 20-degree weather. It was threadbare. Her hair, a striking copper red, was wet and plastered to her face. She was shaking violently. People were walking past her, dozens of them. Shoppers with bags full of gifts, couples holding hands. They looked at her, then looked away, stepping over the slush, ignoring the human wreckage in their path. "They aren't helping her," Lily screamed, tears in her eyes. "Why aren't they helping?" The question hit me like a physical slap. Why wasn't I helping? The rebellion. "Stay in the car," I ordered instinctively. The protective father mode kicked in. "It's dangerous." My daughters didn't listen, and thank God they didn't. Lily popped the lock. "I don't care," she shouted, pushing the heavy door open. The freezing wind whipped into the cabin, biting through my expensive suit. Maya and Chloe scrambled out after her. "Girls," I shouted, dropping my phone. I scrambled across the leather seats, cursing. I watched as 3 little girls in bright red, green, and pink designer coats ran into the dirty slush. They looked like little ornaments dropped into the mud. They ran straight to the woman, ignoring the honking taxis and the shouting drivers. They didn't see a homeless person. They didn't see a liability. They just saw someone who was cold. The scarves. By the time I reached them, the snow was soaking into my Italian leather shoes. The woman in the wheelchair looked up, terrified. Her eyes were a piercing blue, wide with shock. She stopped struggling against the wheels as these 3 small children surrounded her. "Here," Lily cried, ripping off her cashmere scarf. She wrapped it clumsily around the woman's neck. "Take mine," Maya yelled, throwing her gloves onto the woman's freezing lap. Chloe, my 5-year-old, did something that broke me. She took off her pink beanie, stood on her tiptoes, and tried to pull it over the woman's wet red hair. "You're shaking," Chloe whispered. The woman started to cry, not a sob, but a silent, shaking release of tension. She looked at these children as if they were angels descending from the clouds. The shame. I stood there panting, the cold air burning my lungs. I was holding my phone in one hand. It buzzed. The Henderson deal. I looked at the phone. Then I looked at my daughters, shivering in the wind because they had given away their warmth to a stranger. I felt a wave of shame so potent it nearly brought me to my knees. I was the adult. I was the one with the power, the money, the muscles, and I had been ready to drive past. I shoved the phone into my pocket. I didn't care if I hung up on the President of the United States. "Daddy," Lily looked at me, her eyes fierce. "Push her, we're not strong enough." They were trying to push the chair, slipping on the ice. I stepped forward. "Move, girls, let Daddy help." The weight of reality. I grabbed the handles of the wheelchair. The rubber grips were torn and icy. "I've got you," I said to the woman. She looked back at me, her teeth chattering. I'm SS sorry to cause TT trouble." "No trouble," I choked out. I pulled back, dislodging the wheels from the ice bank. The chair was heavy, not just the metal, but the weight of the life inside it. As I pushed her toward the curb, I noticed the tires were bald. The frame was bent. This wasn't a medical device, it was a prison. I got her to the sidewalk, but the girls weren't done. "She can't go home," Maya said. "She's turning blue." They were right. Her lips were cyanotic. She was in the early stages of hypothermia. "Where are you going?" I asked her. She pointed vaguely down a dark alleyway. "Shelter, but it closes at 6. It was 6:15. The decision. I looked at my limo. I looked at the pristine beige interior. Then I looked at the woman, dripping with dirty slush. Old Arthur would have handed her a $100 bill and walked away. Old Arthur would have worried about the upholstery. But old Arthur died the moment Chloe put her hat on this woman's head. "You're not going to a shelter," I said firmly. I maneuvered the chair to the side of the SUV. "Girls, get in the back, make room." "Sir, you can't," the driver protested, stepping out. "The liability." "Open the door," I commanded. My voice had the same authority I used in the boardroom, but this time it was for something that mattered. I bent down and scooped the woman into my arms. She was light, terrifyingly light, like a bird made of hollow bones. The warmth. I settled her into the leather seat. The heat hit us instantly. She gasped, her body curling toward the warmth. I collapsed into the seat next to her. My daughters piled blankets from the emergency kit on top of her until only her face was visible. "What's your name?" I asked gently. "Elena," she whispered. Her voice was scratchy. "I'm Arthur. These are the Sterling girls." "Thank you," she wept. I thought I was going to freeze out there." I told the driver to put the wheelchair in the trunk. It wouldn't fit. "Leave it," I said. "Sir." "Leave it. It's garbage. We're getting a new one." "The dinner." We didn't go to the party. I told the driver to take us to my favorite Italian restaurant, a place where plates cost more than most people's rent. When we rolled up, the valet looked confused. A billionaire, 3 disheveled kids, and a woman who looked like she'd been dragged through a snowbank. I walked Elena in. I had to carry her again. The restaurant wasn't accessible, another thing I'd never noticed before. The maitre d' stepped forward, nose wrinkled. "Mr. Sterling, we have a dress code." "Table for 5, I cut him off. "Best one by the fire, and bring a menu. If you say a word about her coat, I will buy this building and fire you." We sat. Alina stared at the white tablecloth, terrified to touch anything. "Order whatever you want," Lily said. "The lasagna is the best." Alina's story. Over steaming bowls of pasta, the story came out. Alina wasn't an addict. She wasn't lazy. She was a ballerina. 2 years ago, a drunk driver had T-boned her car. She lost the use of her legs and her parents in the same crash. The insurance money ran out. She couldn't teach dance anymore. The disability checks weren't enough for rent in the city. She had been evicted 3 days ago. "I was just trying to get to the church," she said, looking down at her hands. "But the snow, I wasn't strong enough." My daughters listened, wide-eyed. They had never known struggle. They thought money appeared by magic. "My daddy can fix it," Chloe said confidently. "He fixes everything." I looked at Chloe. She believed in me. She thought I was a hero. I realized I had to become the man she thought I was. The real gift. I pulled out my checkbook. I started to write a check for $10,000. It would solve her problems for a few months. Then I stopped. Money was easy. Money was lazy. Alina didn't just need cash, she needed a life. I put the checkbook away and pulled out my phone. I dialed my assistant, who was undoubtedly at a Christmas party. "Sarah, sorry to disturb you. I need the keys to the guest cottage at the Hamptons estate. Tonight." "Sir." "And I need you to contact Dr. Eris at Mount Sinai. Tell him I'm funding a full spinal rehab case. I want an appointment immediately after Christmas." I looked at Alina. "You're not going back to the shelter. You're coming with us." The transformation. We didn't just buy her dinner. The next day, Christmas morning, wasn't about the toys under the tree. It was about the specialized medical van pulling into the driveway. It was about the custom, motorized wheelchair I had rush-ordered from a private medical supplier, cherry red, just like her hair. When Alina sat in the new chair, pushed the joystick, and spun around the living room, she laughed. It was the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. My daughters didn't play with their new iPads. They spent the morning taking turns riding on the back of Alina's chair, racing down the hallways. The lesson. That was 5 years ago. Alina didn't just recover, she thrived. With the rehab I funded, she regained some sensation. She didn't walk again, but she danced. She started a seated dance program for disabled children. I invested in her studio. It was the best investment of my career. My daughters are older now. Lily is 14. She doesn't ask for designer bags anymore. She volunteers at the studio every weekend. I changed, too. I stopped looking at spreadsheets as the measure of my worth. I started looking at people. I started a foundation for accessible housing in the city. The snowbank in the heart. I often think back to that red light. I think about how close I came to driving away. I think about how easy it is to be warm and blind. My daughters saved Alina that night, but they saved me, too. They broke the glass of my limousine and forced me to see the world. Wealth isn't the money in the bank. It's the ability to stop the car. It's the willingness to ruin your shoes in the slush. It's the understanding that when you have more than you need, you don't build a higher fence, you build a longer table. If you ever see someone stuck in the snow, don't look away. Stop the car. You might just save yourself.